Selling is critical for the survival of your new venture and is a key skill every aspiring entrepreneur must master. Before you start your venture, you sell your idea, you sell yourself, your candidature, how good and experienced you are to prospective investors and other stakeholders. Once you start your venture though, your very purpose becomes creating customers. Every moment you spend running your business, you need to be effectively selling. Everything else takes second priority. But getting your first customer is no easy task. For a start, unlike established firms, you will lack a track record, so your credibility is likely to be questionable. Then, people may not be familiar with your product or service, and you will face competition from existing and new competitors. You will need to anticipate all of this and build countermeasures in your sales and marketing strategy from the very onset. In order to make a sale, you need to convince a prospective buyer that what you offer will help them do their jobs better, that your offering is better suited to their needs, would make their lives somehow better, richer, more meaningful. Maybe by freeing up their time, or reducing their stress, by being light on their wallets, or because it makes things simpler. What should be that narrative, that story you'll tell to win customers over, and then through which media you'll tell it? This is sales and marketing strategy. Sales in a new venture for someone who has not done it before can be intimidating. It might mean putting you out of your comfort zone, walking up to random people in a busy train station and convincing them to come to your ice cream or sandwich shop poses special personal challenges. You must shed that fear of the approach. And you have to be emotionally prepared to face rejection, rude responses, indifference, and even outrage. Yes, all of these things do happen, but if you have developed psychological resilience, you will persevere. Remember, it is not the customer's fault. Blaming customers who don't get your product or that don't understand its value would be like saying that the car's brakes failed when in fact you have caused the accident. Modern cars are very reliable. It is the driver's fault 99.9% of the time. Their misjudgment of the road conditions or not driving with their fullest attention. If customers aren't getting it, then you have to be prepared to change the narrative. Don't blame them, rather tell the story in a different way. Rethink the offering fundamentally. Be prepared to take personal responsibility.
Hi, Ian.
Hi, Anita. So, how can you persuade potential customers to buy your product?
It's never to me easy to convince others to part with their cash. Expert sales and marketers, they create these psychological hooks or illusions. For example, one of the best hooks ever created is the $9.99 rather than $10. What customers see is an illusory low price. Other techniques include co-branding, where you see logos of Microsoft, Cisco, Oracle, and Tata Consultancy Services appearing together in an advertisement, and all of them are of the same size. You begin to draw an association with them. They're equally important and equally valuable enterprises. When TCS was new, such techniques helped to award it credibility. I suppose it is important to carefully nail down what the real hooks of your customers are that will persuade them to make a purchase. For Flipkart in India, it was discovering the hesitation people had when ordering high-value goods online. What if it turns out to be poor quality? What if I don't like it? Would I be able to return it? How soon will I get my money back? Flipkart created a powerful hook, cash on delivery, which was hard to deliver, but it got them the results. People felt comfortable transacting, and their average purchase values in time started to inflate. Other hooks could be offering warranties and guarantees to your customers, careful product placement, website or app design, optimized to where people first look when they load it up. But first you will need to create awareness, and this can be quite expensive. So be wary. Pick and choose your awareness generating media carefully. If you're selling a high end solution, don't resort to spreading leaflets at the traffic signals, for example. Pay a lot of attention to your brand identity. It has to be aesthetically pleasing. It should captivate your target audience's attention. If it's a children's product, don't forget that the parents are the decision makers. You will need to target them as much as the children. If it's businesses that form your target audience, then they are most likely not going to respond to Facebooks, and you might need to resort to direct selling. Ultimately, though, your narratives have to be memorable to the customer. Everyone knows the McDonald's tagline, I'm loving it, or the Nike slogan, just do it. If people don't remember what you create, then why would they change their behavior to buy it? What primeval human instinct can you trap into to create that persuasive hook? Mother's undying love for their child, for example, or the feeling you get when you smell the new car leather seats, the memory of playing with your friends at school, and tie it back into your own.
So you meet a prospect, yeah? How do you close that sale, that transaction?
This again, Ian, depends on the context. But in all cases, to sell, you need to be well prepared, well mannered, and expressive without coming out as pushy or intrusive. And you need to look credible. Unfortunately, people do harbor negative stereotypes. Most people will not feel comfortable getting surgery from a man with a large body piercing, for example, and tattoos. It's just how things are. It's not your job to change the world, but to operate within the social norms and sell your offering with persuasion. Say you're meeting a manager of a large business who is responsible for stationery procurement, and say you are selling a new kind of paper shredder that you would like them to purchase. Before the meeting, gather as much information as you can in an ethical manner. Have they had any security breaches? Have their confidential documents gone missing, for example? Do they have a clean desk policy, and so on? If you want to be very persuasive, you could go through their trash and try and recover some documents to present at the meeting. During the sales call, you need to try to uncover the target customer's pain points and explain how your product or service will solve their problems. You would need to answer any objections they will raise over the product's features and other aspects like pricing. Finally, to close the sales deal, try to ask for an expression of interest if you sense buying signals from the client. You could consider offering them a discount or for bulk purchases, for example, or offer free servicing or an extended warranty. Initially, though, if no one has bought your shredders before, you could resort to leasing them to few prominent customers for free on a 1 month trial of, for example. The catch here will be that after the trial, they would consider the option to purchase the shredder or at least write a good review. You can chalk this up as sales cost.
So how important is positive word of mouth for inducing new sales?
Its importance cannot be stressed enough, especially for a new venture with limited resources. Consumers across the world are becoming more resistant to direct advertising or traditional media. Ask around, and you will find that only a negligible amount of 18 to 30-year-olds, called millennials, etc., listen to radio regularly, or watch terrestrial TV channels, or read the newspaper. I'm not saying that they are not listening to audio content. They might be listening to podcasts or listening to internet radio. People are consuming a whole amount of video content online. They're using streaming services like YouTube, which offer few advertising opportunities. Advertisers on YouTube are increasingly finding that click through rates are sharply falling. People tend to ignore and skip ads, as you and I do, even though they may be personalized. It's the same with news consumption. Young people feel they get much more reliable news on social media than traditional newspapers, which means news or print ads too are no longer viable. So this leaves few options for new businesses to sell. Hey, take a look at me. I exist. The best way to get people's attention is through social media, which is people's gateway to the internet. Whereas 15, 20 years ago, these were just search engines. Now the first thing people do when they wake up in the morning is, look at their WeChat, look at the WhatsApp. And it's the last thing they do before they go to sleep. The problem is that social media advertising also does not work well. Ask people around, how many have bought something after seeing a Facebook ad? Hardly anyone. The way it works now is through social media influencers. These are individuals whose opinions matter online. They've got a massive following online, and their endorsement can be powerful for selling your product or service. You will have to try and find out which influencer is suitable for your brand and get you noticed online. Once this happens, it's important to generate reviews. No one ever makes a purchase nowadays without first reading the reviews, even if it's a small purchase like a packet of balloons. Video reviews are even better. The unboxing videos on Facebook, on YouTube, they're quite popular. We're doing all this to generate positive word of mouth. People spend money on things that they see others whom they can trust or value that product. So they see it as being impartial and that they are influenced by that.
So, what are the various means to collect customer feedback?
Imagine you're a food delivery platform like Foodpanda, for example, and you run a search for a takeaway meal. Would you ever order a takeaway which has less than 10 reviews and a minimum 4-star rating? No one ever wants to give it a shot. Anything, a 3-star rating, for example. Negative feedback can literally destroy your business. And this applies across the board, whether your customers are walk-ins to your store, or other small businesses, government agencies, or they might be anonymous buyers online. From the first onset, you need to have a mechanism to collect and evaluate your customer feedback. It is important, therefore, to create a social media presence. You have no choice but to these days. Otherwise, how will you collect customer feedback? On paper forms? That doesn't work anymore. Be present on all relevant platforms which are discovered. Start by optimizing your search on Google. Choose your keywords carefully. Get some professional help to do this. Google is the starting point for generating reviews. Their reviews is the first thing anyone would see if they decide to visit your website. Or if you're on mobiles, then you could have a platform like App Store or Play Store. To generate reviews online, you must do, of course, something offline, like a launch event, a treasure hunt, a free celebrity meet and greet, something that catches people's attention. That way, you can create awareness for your product. Incentivize people to write reviews for your offerings by offering them discount codes or freebies. But don't ever pay people to write reviews or use any such tricks, because that's a gross breach of trust. People read reviews online in trust. The reviewer has taken some time to write impartially and is objective. People are quite wary of fake reviews and click farms And if they suspect something, it'll be very difficult for you to recover from reputational damage. It's human nature when someone searches on the internet, let's say for a hotel or a restaurant, say on TripAdvisor, for example. If you see a prospect with more than 3,000 views or an average 4.5-star rating, that's sending red flags. The next thing they would do is look for the distribution of the reviews. They might look at how many 1-stars have been garnered, and then they will ignore the thousands of 4s and 5s if they see these ones like that. Not everyone is so sophisticated, but there are growing number of online users are getting more and more savvy. If there are 1-star reviews which are recent and there is no management response, for example, because the online users will make a value judgment that used to be good but are no longer caring for customer views. This can be damaging in the long run for your business. If you have negative reviews, make sure that you respond to them in the right way, courteously and professionally. Take people's opinions seriously and make necessary changes. Feedback is for improving your product and to customer needs. So it's a complicated and ever-changing landscape online. You must be able to stay sharp and be adaptable. Generating and monitoring review constantly is good for your business.
Thank you.
Thank you.